morning, everyone. My name is Edwin Torres, and I'm here with the Immigrant Defense Network. Over the last week, our community has lived through two terrifying and completely unnecessary shows of force by federal agencies here in St. Paul. Last Tuesday, dozens of federal agents raided Protect's workplace. 14 people were taken while they were simply trying to work. They were workers, neighbors, people who were part of the everyday life of the city. Then yesterday, they brought the same chaos into the residential neighborhood here on the east side. Early in the morning, ICE, HSI, U.S. Marshal, federal agents surrounded a residential home on Rose Avenue. St. Paul police formed a perimeter and were present. Inside that house were people who made a life there. Outside, hundreds of brave neighbors showed up quickly, standing together to protect a family and demand due process. What our community got in return was tear gas, pepper spray, and so-called less lethal rounds. People were hit in the head, in the leg, on their backs. A journalist was hospitalized, and many others had to seek medical attention. Elected officials were pepper sprayed. Neighbors who came out to care for one another were treated as a threat. Let's be clear. Our families are not the threat to public safety. The raids are. Yet even in the middle of all of that violence, we saw who we truly are. We saw people linking arms, passing out water, washing out eyes, checking out children and elders. Someone with a cane was violently pushed to the ground and pepper sprayed. We saw people running towards each other, not away. Our community is brave, and we are the ones keeping each other safe during these times. Today, here at Indigenous Roots, you will hear directly from the people inside the house who've provided a statement, who were impacted by yesterday's raid. I ask you to listen to their statement, listen to what it means when federal agents turn your home into a battlefield. We're calling for full transparency from federal agencies and a thorough investigation into the use of force by local police. And at the end, and to end local collaboration that enables this kind of violence in our city and in our state. We will keep showing up for people. We will keep defending our neighbors.
Good morning. My name is Chino. I am a community organizer in the Twin Cities. I dance here with Kakuli Sinakshli out of Indigenous Roots. And I was on the scene yesterday morning for the 5-hour standoff between community, ICE, HSI, and St. Paul Police. We are here today to talk about what we witnessed on the site of the raid yesterday at 609 Rose Street. Yesterday, Tuesday, November 25th, a federal operation involving ICE, HSI, and St. Paul Police took place. St. Paul Police blocked off the roads that led to this operation, and what we saw was excessive force, continued agitation by the St. Paul Police Department during the raid, and even after ICE presence had dispersed to the area. We want to make it clear, as St. Paul community members, that ICE, HSI, DHS, whatever they like to be called and whoever they are not welcomed in our neighborhoods. We will not allow you to target our neighbors, to abduct our family members, to scare our communities into hiding. We know our rights, and we will ensure our neighbors do as well. To all the responders who came to the scene, thank you. Last week at Brotex, the time it took for a responder to get there on site was 12 minutes, and yesterday it was under 10. It is up to us as our neighbors to be on the lookout for each other and ready to respond as quickly as we can. Our time is sacred, and every minute counts. The affected family came to the United States fleeing persecution in Honduras, only to face continued attacks here in the East Side. The family is safe and will continue being supported by our neighborhood and by our community.
Good morning, my name is Ruti. I am a community organizer here on the East Side, as well as community organizer here at Indigenous Roots Cultural Arts Center. And I was also on site in the 5-hour standoff between HSI, ICE, and the St. Paul Police Department. We also want to say that this is a call to action for all organizations, community collectives, and neighborhoods to organize not just in preparations for mass mobilization at raids, but to prepare beforehand. It is because of our relationships to our neighbors that we were allowed to remain in the vicinity and given permission to stay in their properties to remain witness to yesterday's raid. A special thank you to our neighbors for being there and supporting us. This is also a continued call to action to continue the efforts in the aftermath of these raids. It is not simply enough to hand resources over to these families. We need to ensure a continued network of support in making these legal appointments and calls for the families, to ensure financial support when breadwinners are taken, to ensure these families' mental, physical, spiritual well-being are taken care of. These are traumatizing events, and families cannot be left alone to deal with the aftermath. When we show up to these calls to mobilize, we need to show up knowing our priorities. Our priorities are always the people inside these homes, businesses and warehouses, ensuring their safety and ensuring their autonomy with how they would like to proceed. This is not the space to be highly emotional. We're not here to agitate the situation, do what you want once the family has left, but when you are in an active situation, you must remain in control of your emotions and your actions.
And we will be reading a statement prepared by the family.
Hey everyone, good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Marianne Liera de Quiroz. First and foremost, I'm an East Side mama of 5. My family and I immigrated to the East Side in 1989, the first and only place I've ever lived in my entire life. My partner, Sergio Quiroz, and I immediately responded to yesterday's call for ICE presence at 609 Rose Avenue. When we got there, we were there with a half a dozen community members, observers, and we were up against there were already about a dozen agents, both surrounding front and back of the home. And it grew more and more as they brought in more agents. So I just wanted to share a statement from the family that has been translated from Spanish to English. Today we come to defend and clear the name of Jeffrey Suazo. Jeffrey Suazo was one of the people that was detained yesterday. A simple man of 26 years old, hardworking and humble. On November 25th, Jeffrey was on his way to work and saw that there was ICE activity. Jeffrey fled out of fear of never seeing his partner, his family, fear of being taken away from his loved ones. They want to blame Jeffrey for something he didn't do that was part of what was happening that morning, yesterday morning. No one deserves to live the trauma that Jeffrey and the family have experienced. Children and a pregnant woman spent 5 hours under threats, humiliation by HSI agents, mockery and invasion of property. Because yes, they were able to get in without a warrant. They shouted things like, "What a man you are, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, we're gonna come and get you one way or another." These were the mind games that they were playing. They would tell us that your girlfriend is not gonna get kidnapped. Don't worry. All to find out it was to weaken our minds, to weaken Jeffrey's mind. Hours where they also threatened to throw pepper spray and gas inside the house and break doors down. 5 hours of anguish, women, children, and men without food, locked in a room where they could not go to the bathroom out of fear. And they did not have the security to look into their own house because the doors had been opened. They were not invited in and they did not have a warrant. This is a statement that we have, and it is really important for all of us to understand not everybody knows the laws of this country. St. Paul police came and disrupted a peaceful observation. No one was threatening HSI and law enforcement agents. St. Paul Police Department came and broke our gridlock that we had in the front of the yard. We asked neighbors permission around if we could be in their yards to be protected, and they said yes. I love the East Side, it's my home. I love the East Side and all the neighbors that have the original peoples who have been the caretakers of this home, the Dakota Ojibwe, all to the ones that were the recent immigrants. How many more news articles are we gonna read that TPS is ending for people from Burma, from Somali? What is it gonna take? And I know that we're all coming together. We're really good at showing up at protests. But my call to action is, what is our post-raid care for our families? How are we taking care of our families and each other when we keep getting re-traumatized in these streets, in our homes, in our places of worship, in the businesses? We contribute to this economy. We contribute to the taxes that are paying St. Paul police and law enforcement agents. So no, we're not gonna go into hiding. We're not gonna run away. We're gonna take our quick rest. We're gonna love up on our loved ones, and we're gonna continue to creating spaces and sanctuary spaces. We demand our city of St. Paul to follow suit in creating ICE zone-free areas. Did I say that in English right? ICE-free zone areas. To create and really stand up for sanctuary spaces. I implore all immigration organizations in the Twin Cities, in the state of Minnesota, to work together in the neighborhoods that they serve, come and collaborate statewide as and when needed, and that it's not just about showing up to protest. We have to be there for the aftercare as well. So I would want to say thank you to everyone. Any questions can be directed to Ryan. If anyone is interested in joining St. Paul Community Response Coalition, please come and talk to Chino or Ruthie. Thank you.